Hello, hello students, good afternoon to you all. Welcome to my YouTube channel. So today I'm going to start today's new chapter. That means second UT, first chapter, from the Honeydew, Glimpses of the Past. So in this chapter we'll be I'll be explaining about the Revolt of 1857. So this chapter is very important to you all. So you'll get it in your social study also, the Revolt of 1857, how it began, the War of Independence. So let's start the video. And in this chapter you'll be learning and you'll be knowing the freedom fighters who fought for the freedom for the country and they laid down their lives. So here you can see the pictures. So there are 9 points of how the revolt of 1857 began. The first one is the Martyrs. So in this chapter we can say few martyrs you can see in the pictures. Here say Mahatma Gandhi is there, Subhash Chandra Bose, Bhagat Singh and many more. So they are the freedom fighters and they sacrifice their life for the country. So on top of the picture of the martyrs or the freedom fighters, you can see a lady singing a song on function in Delhi, and her name is, I think most of you know by looking at the picture, she is Lata Mangeshkar. She is singing a song, "Oh my countrymen, let your eyes fill with tears as you recall the sacrifices of India's martyrs." And this same song has been translated to Hindi. It has been translated from Hindi to English, and that song name is Hey Mere Watan Ki Logo. And I think all of you heard this song. So let's begin the chapter. So before you read or before you hear this video, listening the explanation, please open your books. All of you open your books and go through it. So here, before you read, here are you already have seen the pictures. Picture of Lata Mangeshkar. She is singing a song, and these glimpses means these pictures belongs to the history of a country that began from 1757 to 1857, and it was the first war of independence. So second point is that the company's conquest. The company's conquest means coming of the East India Company to India for the business purpose. And this duration was 1757 to 1849. So you can see the picture of map of India, how the East India Company captured India. They came only for the business purposes, but they later on slowly they capture India. So whatever pink color is there in the border, it is East India Company, the territory of East India Company. So you go through the books. With its superior weapons, the British East India Company was extending its power in 18th century in India. So during this period, India did not have that much of weapons, that advanced weapons like the British. So they could not do anything, or they could not fight back the British. And because of that reason, they extended the territory from the we can say the base was in Calcutta, and they spread all parts of northeast. So India princes were short-sighted. So before the ruler also were the they saw their maximum benefits. So they helped the British to conquer India. That upstart Rajaba called the English merchants, they will help me to defeat him. So they were taking help of the British to defeat other kings, other princes, and they became very selfish. The people had no peace due to such constant fights, and due to the fight, and the British also helped to fight the kings, same kings living in India and fighting each other, and British took that as the weapon. Next one, you see, next picture, you see the British are fighting, helping to fight against other kings. The rivalries helped the East India Company, and it could easily subdue Indian princes one by one. So East India Company helped other kings to subdue, to defeat the other kings one by one very easily, because British had advanced weapons like guns, and other Indians also, they were supporting the British, that they were thinking the British were their god, means God has sent them to work for them. Next one is, you see, how did India react to this conquest? And some of the Indians were very brave enough, and they saw that it was not right, that what the English East India Company is doing, it was not right. They could see the negative points of the Britishers. The white man has killed or dethroned our kings. Though they were not working or they were bad, then also they were supporting the kings, and they themselves said that they were our kings, even though they were our kings. Now these foreigners have made the Indians slaves to work for them. Whatever they were earning, all things were taken away by the Britishers. Number 3 point is British rule. After they slowly defeated other kings, they became the rulers of the country. And our Indian peoples were, some of them, they were not knowing what the Britishers are going to do. So they were practicing evil, social evil practice, means superstitious. Some religious leaders were there who were preaching untouchability and child marriage. They said anyone who crosses the seas loses his religion. Anyone who will cross the seas or the rivers or go to other country, they will lose the religion. They will not be the member of the religion. And one of them, they said all the miseries in the world is due to women. Means whatever miseries or whatever difficulties are coming in India, it is due to women. So it was a very false teaching and superstitious teaching by the Indian people. And the British, they enjoyed them by looking at it. All they became, some of them, they work for the Britishers. And whatever the Indian merchants, Indian farmers, they were earning for their livelihood, it was taken away by the Britisher as a tax. Maybe sometimes due to the rain problem, due to the shortage of rain, crops were not grown so well. So Indian people had to pay the double tax. And in this way, the Indian people were suffering a lot. You can see the picture of last, you see, one artisan or artist he could not sell his pots or other hand making things because of the Britishers. And in 1836, 1822 to 1836, due to the famines and other scarcity of food, Indian people died around 15 lakhs due to starvation. They had no food because whatever food they were cultivating, it was given to the British people. And this made the Indians a crippled one. Cripple means no legs, no hands to work and survive. And before in India, there was our industries, few industries, that was also later on it died, or it was closed because the English merchants, they were taking away our resources, natural resources, and it was taken away from here to the England, and they manufactured there in a low cost and brought to India for selling, and they were selling it for a low price. So that is why the Indian industry slowly began to die. For Indian industry there was no profits, and they also imposed import duty, imposed import duty on Indian industry as well as export duty. But for English people or the Britishers, if they will import anything from England, there will be no, tax will not be taken, or if they will export, tax will be not taken. Only for Indians the tax was existed. So let's come to next point, that is Rajaram Mohan Roy. He is one of the famous and a brave person in Indian history. He also from a Brahmo Samaj. Brahmo Samaj means to eradicate whatever superstitious practices going on in India. He wanted to reform the society, like untouchability was there, child marriage, then Parda system, dowry was there, dowry system, and one was the Sati system. Sati means anyone, if suppose husband and wife is there, if suppose husband dies, at the same time when the husband is burned, wife also has to get burned together. She also has to die. That is Sati system. And this was the one of the evil practice. Social evil practice was practiced during that ancient India. So Rajaram Mohan Roy was one of the he was one of the person who was against these practices. So Rajaram Mohan Roy, a learned man from Bengal, understood what was wrong with the country. He came to know each and everything about the country. So Indian people were not supporting each other. Some of them, they were working for the British people. So he was against it. So he wanted to reform the society. He wanted to eradicate the superstitious belief. Let us not despise ourselves. Our ancient culture is great and we are capable of greater achievements. We must first reform our society. Superstitious have been reigning us. So superstitious, one of the cause behind the inequality. Like one religious teacher said that women are the misery. Whatever misery coming, it is because of the women. So this type of superstitious belief existed during that period. So one of the famous teaching of Rajaram Mohan Roy, once he said to his wife, cows are of different colors, but the colors of their milk is the same. Different teachers have different opinion, but the essence of every religion is the same. So what does it mean? Cows may be of different color. It may be white, black, green, yellow, blue, whatever it is. But all the cows give the same color milk. Yes or no? The milk is white always. Whatever may be the color of the cow, but the milk will remain same. Whatever the may be the teacher of religion, but the religion teaches the same thing, only the good things. It may have different opinions of different religious teachers, but the essence and the values are same. So that is the idea of Rajaram Mohan Roy. So he believed in modern science. He did not believe in superstitions, but he believed in technology, science and technology. And he wanted to be a practical on it. He crossed the seas and he went to England to study more. And he came to India to help the Indian people. Once when there was a conference, he said to the British people, we accept you as a ruler and you must accept us your subject, but you must remember the responsibility a ruler owes to his subjects. He said to the British people that we accept you as our ruler, but you must accept us your people, your subjects, and whatever we require you should provide us. And in the year 1823 he started newspaper. Before 1823 he started newspaper, but it was stopped by the British people because all the informations were given to India through this newspaper to make the people of India aware of what they are doing. So let's come to the next points, that is oppression. Oppression in 1765 to 1835. Oppression means, we say, one type of torturing the Indian people by the British people. They were thinking the Indian people were what? Uneducated, illiterate. So they were torturing them, they were putting them into the jail. 1765 to 1835. But the British continued to oppress Indians. In 1818, they had passed Regulation 3. Under it, an Indian could be jailed without trial in a court. Without trial, they will be put inside the court. Without trial in a court, they will put inside the jail. And one more thing, that whatever British officers were there, they were gaining more salaries. They were making more fortunes in private business. But the Indian soldiers, they were not paid equally. In 1829, British, they exported goods to their country from India, about 7 crores of rupees. So we cannot imagine 7 crores. It is a very huge amount at that time. So later Governor General Bentinck reported back home, the bones of cotton waves are reaching the plains of India. So whatever cotton mills were there, cotton weavers were there, they were affected by this British people because they looted India. They looted in India, and whatever cotton industries were there, it was closed. Next point is the dissatisfaction. Number 6, dissatisfactions. Indians were not satisfied with the British rule. They were tortured, they were put inside the jail. So now they were many Indians, they planned to fight against the British people. They were not satisfied at all, and almost all parts of the country were captured by the East India Company, and they were ruling the country. And the same times the education law was brought. Education in India was in Persian and Sanskrit at that time, but they had changed. Macaulay, he changed in 1835 and changed it into English. Whatever two languages were there, Persian and Sanskrit, and it was changed to English, so that the Indian people will get job in administrative offices. English education produced clerks to whom the British gave petty jobs under them. Incidentally, it also produced a new generation of the intellectuals. So with the help of the English language, many intellectuals were produced, and it is one of the good sign though, but it hampered Indian education system. They care little about needs of Indians. So all the Indian peoples were totally dissatisfied. They were not satisfied at all. They had to pay very heavy taxes, and people were discussing about this. They are discussing how the kings became puppets and lords, and the Indian people, they lost their all jobs. Not even jobs, they also lost the lands and industries. That was the dissatisfaction by the Indian people they showed. Next point is that the Spurks 1855 to 1857, and this is known as the Revolt of 1857 when began. So first was fought. First war began in Meerut by our greatest leader, one of the patriots, patriotic man, and he is known as Mangal Pandey. So let's see the first portion of the point, the Spurks 1855 to 1857. Let's see. Taxes continue to reign the peasants, farmers in Bengal. The Santals, who had lost their lands under new land rules, became desperate. In 1855, they rose in rebellion and massacred Europeans and their supporters alike. They burned almost all parts of the Bengal because farmers were very much angry about the tax they have to pay. They work day and night, but they have to pay double tax to the British. So you can see the one movie, the Lagan. It is one of the good example how the Indian people were treated, how they were giving the tax. If you get chance, please watch the movie and understand it. How the British are reigned, they destroy the Indian farmers. And it was the first war of independence. Thousands of others were revolted. They were stripped on their uniforms, and those who revolted against the British, their uniforms were taken away by the British people. They had to leave their dress. Here you see this one quotation by a soldier. The Angrez asks us to cross the sea which is against our religion. Who is the Tapliwala to abolish our age-old customs? We must drive out the Angrez. Sepoy Mangal Pandey attacked the adjutant of the regiments. was executed, humiliated and put in irons. So most of the soldiers were put inside the jail, and Mangal Pandey was later on hanged to death, executed, because they were against the British. They were the brave soldiers who fought against the British people. And they were also dissatisfied because of the usage of new cartridge, that was grease. It was believed that the cartridge was grease with the fat of cows and pigs. So both Hindu and Muslim soldiers were dissatisfied with this act, and so later on they rose against and fought against the British people. The Revolt of 1857. Then there was a violent outbreak in Meerut, and Meerut is the first place where the Revolt of 1857 began. The sepoys marched to Delhi, and they were shouting and supporting, and they were making leaders. Long live our European Emperor Bahadur Shah. Bahadur Shah became the leader of the Sepoy mutiny, and the rebellion spread all around against the British, and they were fighting against the British. They disagreed the landlord's rule. Whatever policy was brought by the British people, they don't agree, and so they fought against the British. And at last comes the fight for freedom, 1857. Though the leaders were not so strong, but they arose. They took the weapons to fight against the British, to make our motherland free. So many former rulers like Begum Hajarat Mahal of Lucknow were bitter. Bitter means she was thrown out of her throne. She was not, her kingdom was taken away by the British people. Like Mallavi Ahmedullah of Hajiabad, he also rose against the British, and he also motivated the people to fight against the British. Rise, brother, rise, the Angrez is ruining our land. So all of them, they fought against the British. You can see the pictures. "80 years old Kanwar Singh of Bihar received a bullet in his wrist. Mother Ganga, this is my last offering to you." The patriots punched upon the British and fought pitched battle all over the North India. So the battle was not won because of few reasons. One reason was that we don't have advanced weapons, we don't have a good leaders, and the lack of leaders communication gap. So because of few reasons, the revolt of 1857 was not successful. But even though the people, they came to arose against the British, they came to know that they have to fight against the British to get freedom. So this was the chapter, the glimpses of the past. Just few pictures are given about the past history, how India were enslaved by the British, and how Indian people, they fought against the British people. So let's come to the summary. So summary, you have to go through so that you can understand better. Let's read out the summary. During 18th century, British East India Company was extending its power in worldwide. Not only in India, all over the world they were extending their power. They have captured Africa, India, and most of the parts of Asia, Europe, Africa, even in Australia. So not only India, they were capturing all over India, world. That time Indian princes were fighting each other because in British had one famous policy, that is divide and rule policy. They were making to fight against each other. East India Company subdued Indian princes one by one. So they were very clever. They were fighting and making friends with the kings and making them to fight each other. And in this way, almost all of the kings were defeated. During the period of 1765 to 1836, India had to witness many incidents. Untouchability, child marriage and other social evils existed in Indian society. The people were superstitious also. The British imposed heavy taxes on farmers so that farmers had to abandon their fields. The East India Company's law began to cripple Indian industry. Ram Mohan Roy, a learned man from Bengal, understood what was wrong with this country. So from this paragraph we can understand how the British people subdue Indian people and what are the weakness of Indian people. So you can understand. He was attracted by the science and modern knowledge. He went to England and fight for the justice of India. But the British continued to oppress Indians. In 1818, they had passed Regulation 3. Under it, an Indian could be jailed without trial in a court. Directly, they will put inside the jail without any trial. No chance to defend. Even if you have not done any mistake, you will be put to jail. During 1835 to 56, Thomas Macaulay suggested some change in Indian education. Whatever Indian education was, that language of education, that was Persian and Sanskrit, it was later changed to English language. They taught Indians their languages. By 1856, British had conquered the whole India. Some Indian soldiers in East India Company were ill pleased with the attitude of East India Company. A soldier named Mangal Pandey attacked the camps or the areas of the British people to his regiment and executed. And later on he was caught and killed, or he was hanged. He became Sahib, Martyrs. In 1857, a violent revolt was heartbroken. The rebellion spread wilder. Many landlords lost their land because of the British policy. Many rulers like Begum Hajarat Mahal and of Lucknow were bitter. Popular leaders like Malavi Abdullah of Hajiabad, Tanti Topi arose the people of India to fight against British Raj. So this was the summary of the glimpses of the past. So you have to read it and understand it better. And it is your homework that to read the chapter properly and understand it better. So since we cannot contact directly, so you have to go through my videos, subscribe it, like it and share it, so that other students also get benefit from it. And I think by evening I will give the question answer of this chapter. So stay online and be regular to watch my channel. And all the PDF file and the Microsoft Doc file will be provided in the link below. So thank you and have a nice day. So one more thing, if you have got any confusion, please you ask me through WhatsApp or by direct contact. Okay, thank you.